Hey, what's good? It's nighttime here on the US West Coast, April 12th. So Bitcoin's been on a tear, bouncing back hard, and we're at a super critical point right now. The big question is, what's next? Can it break through? Alright, it's the weekend, so we've got some extra time to dive deep. Today's topic is a juicy one. US Treasuries are facing their worst sell-off since 2006. Is Bitcoin gearing up for a massive rally? If you're vibing with today's content, please hit that subscribe button, give us a like, and turn on the notification. Alright, let's jump into the charts and break it down. We're looking at Bitcoin's daily chart. After yesterday's wild 5,000 plus rebound, the price is now sitting super close to that key $85,000 level. Here's the deal. Yesterday, I mentioned that $85,000 is the line I'm watching closely. If Bitcoin can reclaim that level, I think there's a solid chance it could push to a higher high, which would seriously boost the odds of ending this entire downtrend. We're basically at the end game here, so keep your eyes peeled. If it breaks $85,000 and sets a new high, we could be looking at a massive rebound. Think big, like weekly chart level big. After a breakout, I'd expect a pullback to around $85,000, which could be a high probability spot for a short-term long trade. As long as it holds support there, we could see it challenge $90,800 first, or even the resistance zone around $96,000. That's the kind of move we're eyeing. Before we get to the main topic, let's zoom in on the short-term picture. Like I've been saying, when Bitcoin hits $85,000, it might run into some resistance initially. If we see a pullback, the ideal scenario is that it doesn't drop below $82,000 or $81,000. If it holds above that, it's got a good shot to keep climbing. So, for those of you hunting short-term entries, this is the zone to watch. Just make sure you're managing your risk properly. Stop-loss levels are pretty clear here, especially at this critical stage. Personally, I'm open to taking a swing at it. Now, let's check out the latest on-chain data. Today, we're seeing buying from whales holding less than 1 BTC, 1 to 10 BTC, and over 100 BTC. Meanwhile, holders with 10 to 100 BTC are selling. Oh, and here's another tidbit. Exchange cash inflows just spiked to a massive $780 million earlier today, the biggest we've seen in a while. That's a bullish signal, right? It's like the whales are loading up their ammo, especially at this make-or-break moment. Speaking of whales, it's been a minute since we looked at this metric, but the whale ratio on spot exchanges is back at a crazy high of 0.6. In plain English, that means 6 out of every 10 BTC flowing into exchanges belong to whales. If both the cash and Bitcoin on exchanges are dominated by whales, what does that tell us? They're probably controlling both the buy and sell sides. Now, why would whales be flexing this much control? Remember a few months back when we talked about this? During that 7-month consolidation, the whale ratio shot up, and then bam! We got those wild 20-plus swings that shook out a ton of traders. Right now, the whale ratio's climbing again after recent pullbacks. We don't know exactly what they're planning, but one thing's for sure, we need to watch their moves closely. I know a lot of you are saying this bull market feels like the toughest one yet. Unlike before, where sharp dips didn't last long, now we're dealing with 3, 4, even 6-month grinds. But here's the thing. Ever since Wall Street's new whales jumped in, they've been stacking coins non-stop and shaking out weak hands the whole way. Why do you think they're putting in all this effort? To break even, or make a quick 20%? Nah, I'm betting their ambitions are way bigger than we can imagine. What do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear them. Alright, let's get to today's main topic. There's this headline making waves. US Treasuries are seeing their worst sell-off since 2006, and Bitcoin might be about to enter a can't stop, won't stop rally mode. You might be wondering, what's a Treasury sell-off got to do with Bitcoin? Let's break it down simply. First, why is this happening? Word on the street is that China's been dumping US Treasuries big time amid trade war tensions. The price of 10-year Treasuries has tanked, which means yields are spiking. Quick explainer. When Treasuries are issued, their interest rate is fixed. Say you buy a $100 bond that pays $4 a year, but bonds trade on the market, so if someone's fire selling them, the price drops. Now, if I buy that same bond for $90, I still get that $4 interest, which means my yield is higher. That's why falling bond prices push yields up. Here's where it gets spicy. Some say China's sell-off is a warning shot to the US, like, don't push us too far. Remember, we talked about how $9 trillion in US debt is maturing this year alone, with over $6 trillion due by June. If yields keep spiking, the US has to pay way more to borrow. And guess what? Debt's already Trump's biggest headache. So why does this matter for Bitcoin? If China keeps selling, say the $500 billion they've reportedly dumped is just the start, and it's less than a 15th of their holdings, it could crash the treasury market. That's a mutually assured destruction move, since China's own dollar reserves would take a hit. But if it happens, the Fed would have to step in, likely with emergency rate cuts to ease the pressure. Current bets are on 3 or 4 cuts this year, and in a worst-case scenario, the Fed might even start buying treasuries themselves, aka quantitative easing, pumping cash into the system. And that's where Bitcoin comes in. Whether the trade war cools off, good news, or heats up, and the Fed floods the market with liquidity, either way, it's a win for Bitcoin. More global liquidity? That's rocket fuel for BTC. A bunch of you have been asking about treasury yields lately, so I figured I'd share this angle since it's the weekend and we've got time. There's a ton of complex stuff behind this, but for now, this is the gist. That's it for today's rundown. Hope it was helpful. Smash that subscribe, like, and bell for more. Have an awesome weekend, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Peace out. Oh, quick note. Bitcoin spot ETFs saw a $1 million outflow today, equivalent to 12 BTC.